Good morning and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Here are the latest headlines. Najma Abdullah and Minister of State for Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises GM Siddeshwara resigned from Cabinet. Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi assigned independent charge of Ministry of Minority Affairs. Situation in Kashmir Valley continues to remain grim. Prime Minister and Chief Minister appeal for calm as death toll climbs to 25 in protests against killing of Hizbul terrorist Burhan Wani. Political crisis in Nepal. Maoist coalition partner of 9-month-old Oli government withdraws support, says the PM has failed to implement past agreements. China blames the US for stirring trouble in South China Sea after international court rules against its claims on the region. UN and India appeal for calm as Beijing strikes defiant note. And David Cameron chairs emotional last cabinet meeting before stepping down today. Theresa May to take over as the second woman Prime Minister of Britain. Our top focus this morning, President Pranab Mukherjee has accepted resignations of Minority Affairs Minister Najma Abdullah and the Minister of State for Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises GM Siddeshwara with immediate effect. The Minister of State Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi has been assigned the independent charge of the Ministry of Minority Affairs. Babul Supriyo was relieved of the charge of Minister of State in the Ministry of Urban Development and Minister of State in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviation, and assigned the portfolio of Minister of State in the Ministry of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises. Now, the development comes just days after Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in a much-awaited cabinet reshuffle, inducted 90 new faces who were chosen after an exhaustive vetting process to carry forward the government's vision of Gaon, Garib aur Kisan. Today, the Union Cabinet is also slated to meet at 10:30 p.m.
Heavy Industries and Public Enterprises is a huge ministry with a lot of scope to work and work harder. I think that, it's a great responsibility which has been entrusted on me, and along with my boss, Shri Giteji. I hope that I'll be able to do some good work for the great PSUs that we have in the country.
And now to the situation in Jammu and Kashmir now. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and State Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti have urged people in the valley to exercise restraint and maintain peace after the death toll in the clashes in the last 4 days rose to 25. Now, the Prime Minister also urged the media to exercise restraint in its coverage of the killing of Hizbul militant Burhan Wani. The Prime Minister has also assured the state government of all possible assistance.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviewed the situation and appealed for calm at a high-level meeting with top officials from Ministries of Home, Finance and Defence in the capital. As a death toll in the Kashmir Valley, violence rose to 25, triggered by the killing of Hizbul Mujahideen militant Burhan Wani last Friday.
The Prime Minister has made an appeal for maintaining peace and calm in the valley and has hoped that the situation would come back to normal very soon. The Prime Minister, on his behalf and on the behalf of the Government of India, has also extended every possible assistance and cooperation to the state government in dealing with this situation. And thirdly, the Prime Minister has also expressed the hope that none of the innocent people would suffer from any kind of inconvenience or harm.
Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti also called on Governor N.N. Vohra and discussed the prevailing law and order situation in the valley. In a first televised address, since violence erupted in Kashmir 4 days back, Mufti blamed vested interests for the unrest.
हमारा मीडिया है, सिविल सोसाइटी है, यहाँ के हमारे मजहबी रहनुमा हैं, सबसे अपील करना चाहती हूँ कि हमें जम्मू कश्मीर में अमन बहाल करने में, लोगों की जानें बचाने में हमारी मदद करें. हम इस जम्मू कश्मीर को मिलके इस मुसीबत से, इस खून खराबे से बाहर निकालना चाहते हैं और इंशाल्लाह ज़रूर निकालेंगे.
Expressing concern, opposition parties urged effective steps by the centre and the state government to normalise the situation.
जहाँ तक ये एक्सट्रीमिस्ट है, इनके खिलाफ एक्शन लेकर देश की एकता और अखंडता को बरकरार रखना ये जिम्मेदारी सबकी है, इसके अंदर कोई दो राय नहीं है। जो भी ज़रूरी है उसके लिए करेगा, लेकिन उसको एक बहाना बनाकर आम निर्दोष लोगों के ऊपर गोलीबाजी करके जान इस तरीके से ले, ये हम समझते हैं उचित नहीं है। इसकी हम घोर खंडन करते हैं।
देखिए, कश्मीर की स्थिति बहुत गंभीर है। केंद्र सरकार को स्थिति को नियंत्रण में लाने के लिए कश्मीर की सरकार की मदद करनी चाहिए। गृह मंत्री ने जम्मू कश्मीर के मुख्यमंत्री से बात करके उन्हें भरोसा दिलाया है, और ये जो आतंकवादी गतिविधियां हैं ये सीमा पार से प्रोत्साहित की जा रही हैं। पाकिस्तान भारतवर्ष में अव्यवस्था पैदा करने के लिए आतंकवादियों का प्रयोग कर रहा है।
Meanwhile, separatist leaders who extended their strike call for 2 more days emphasized the need for a political solution.
The only way out of this problem is to address the problem politically, not militarily, and initiate engagement among all the stakeholders to the issue, that is India, Pakistan, and most importantly, the people of Jammu and Kashmir, with a view to resolve the issue once and for all.
Normal life remained paralysed in the region as incidents of stone pelting were reported from districts of Anantnag and Shopian. A police post was also set ablaze by protesters in the Pulwama district. Mobile internet services and train services remained suspended for the 4th day. Faced with a crisis-like situation, authorities in Jammu and Kashmir also cancelled leaves of doctors and paramedics in hospitals. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
Well, on to some other news. Well, Vice President Mohammad Habib Ansari will be in Mongolia starting Thursday to attend the 11th Asia-Europe meeting, or the ASEM. Now, ASEM is a dialogue forum to bridge Asia and Europe. Well, as the forum celebrates its 20th anniversary, the thrust of this year's meeting will be connectivity and economic cooperation between the two continents.
Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari will travel to Mongolia for a 4-day visit starting 14th July to attend the 2-day 11th Asia-Europe meeting in the capital Ulaanbaatar. ASEM is an informal process of dialogue and cooperation between Asia and Europe. It includes 51 countries of Asia and Europe and 2 international organizations. A forum that began with 26 members has now expanded to 53. India became a member of the forum in 2007, that is marking its 20th anniversary this year.
This is a unique platform of dialogue between the two continents, Asia and Europe, in a constructive partnership that entails political dialogue, economic collaboration, as well as socio-cultural exchanges.
India had hosted the 11th ASEM Foreign Ministers meeting in 2013, which was inaugurated by the Vice President of India. It marked the beginning of a new orientation for future ASEM, as members agreed on tangible, result-oriented initiatives for Asia-Europe cooperation.
We also look at other aspects of connectivity, including digital connectivity, historical, civilizational, cultural connectivity, people-to-people connectivity. And so I would imagine that Uprashpati ji will focus on all the broad aspects encompassing the theme of connectivity.
The ASEM dialogue this year is looking forward to address political, economic and cultural issues with the objective of further strengthening the relationship between Asia and Europe. Aishwarya Kapoor's report for Rajya TV.
And Union HRD Minister Prakash Javadekar has said that views of all ideological sections will be considered for the formulation of a new education policy. Calling himself a soldier of democracy, Javadekar said there could be different opinions and that he was willing to talk to all. Javadekar was speaking at an event organized by RSS-linked body Bharatiya Shikshan Mandal on issues related to NEP, where several speakers pitched for encouraging Sanskrit in the country. The HRD minister said that his vision of education was that which is accessible, affordable, high quality and encouraging research and innovation. The HRD minister's remarks come in the backdrop of various allegations of saffronization by rival parties ever since the BJP-led government came to power. Javadekar has now urged people to send in their suggestions on the policy till 31st of July.
ये बीजेपी कांग्रेस कम्युनिस्ट विषय है ही नहीं, ये राष्ट्रीय विषय है और सबको इसमें शामिल होना चाहिए। ये नई शिक्षा नीति का प्रस्ताव एक इंटरनेट पर रखा है। मैं चाहता हूं कि 31 जुलाई तक सीमा है, लेकिन भेजिए, जितने भी सुझाव है भेजिए, हमें चाहिए, हर एक विचार की राय चाहिए।
Well, the Congress party has announced changes in its organization in Uttar Pradesh, which goes to polls early next year. Party MP in Rajya Sabha, Raj has been made the new chief of the state unit, along with the Raja Rampal, Imran Masood and Rajesh Mishra as his deputies. The General Secretary in charge of the state, Ghulam Nabi Azad, disclosed that the party will soon announce its chief ministerial candidates for the assembly polls.
हमारे यहाँ ऐसी कोई ना तो सिटिंग चीफ मिनिस्टर है या अभी कोई तत्काल में कोई ऐसा चीफ मिनिस्टर रहा है, लिहाजा जो हमारी कैंपेन शुरू हो जाएगी तो हम देखेंगे एट एप्रोप्रिएट टाइम कोई न कोई सीएम चेहरा जरूर होगा.
On to some other news. Well, an investigation panel appointed by the Supreme Court indicted former CBI Director Ranjit Sinha in the coal scam. Attorney General Mukul Rohtgi presented the report in the Supreme Court on Tuesday and said that Sinha tried to influence the probe in the scam. He also found the former CBI Director's visitor's diary genuine, but said that the correctness of the entries can only be ascertained in the court of law through evidence. Now, taking note of the submissions, the Supreme Court has reserved its order for passing directions at a future date.
Yes, the report has clearly indicted him for having met the accused, as well as that it appears that his meetings have influenced his decisions and the CBI's decisions in the coal scam.
Now let's take a look at the events slated for the day in the day ahead. Seeking to deepen defense ties amid increasing Chinese assertiveness in the Indo-Pacific region, Japanese Defense Minister Gen Nakatani will today arrive in India on a 3-day visit. During the visit, defense cooperation, including defense manufacturing, would be the focus of the discussion. General Nakatani will hold delegation-level talks with the Defense Minister Manohar Parrikar on Thursday. The first political conclave of the Northeast Democratic Alliance, a platform of BJP and its 9 regional alliance parties of the Northeast, will be held today in Guwahati. BJP National President Amit Shah will attend the meet. The conclave will also be attended by Chief Ministers of Assam, Nagaland, Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh, besides leaders of other political parties. The Supreme Court is likely to pronounce today its verdict on a batch of petitions dealing with the discretionary powers of the governor to summon or advance the assembly session of Arunachal Pradesh. Now, a 5-judge constitution bench headed by Justice J.S. Khehar had reserved its judgment on 22nd of February. The apex court had said that the verdict in this case will not only have effect on Arunachal Pradesh but also affect every state of the country. And news now from neighbouring Nepal, where the Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli-led coalition government on Thursday plunged into a serious crisis. The alliance partner, CPN Maoist Centre, withdrew support to the 9-month-old government, accusing the Prime Minister of failing to implement past agreements. Now, CPN Maoist Chairman Prachanda claimed Oli's party had not implemented the 9-point agreements that were signed between CPN UML and the Maoist Centre in May, and the gentleman's agreement for the change of guard. He said that the party's decision to withdraw support to the government would help build national consensus. On Monday, Prachanda met Nepali Congress President Sher Bahadur Duba and held talks on the latest political developments in the country. He's also learned to have sought his support from the main opposition Nepali Congress to form the new government under the leadership of his party now. And right now, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay with us.
Hello, I am Ishan Russell.
I'm Tracy Shilchi and you're watching News Tonight.
Together with the team of our
dedicated professionals from across various fields.
This is Sham Sundar,
Vishal Dahiya,
Akhilesh Suman,
Frank Pereira,
from Beijing, China.
Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television. We bring to you
The news that matters here on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back on to the big international news now, where a defiant China has blamed the United States for fomenting trouble in the South China Sea after an international tribunal rejected its total claim over the region. Now, Beijing maintains that it will not abide by the verdict and called it a farce. Now, the UN and India joined other countries urging calm to resolve the dispute in the region. An international tribunal on Tuesday ruled against China in a bitter row over territorial claims to the South China Sea that is likely to ratchet up regional tensions. In a statement, the court said there was no legal basis for China to claim historic rights to resources within the sea areas falling within the 9-dash line. Beijing had repeatedly violated international law by causing severe harm to the coral reef environment and by failing to prevent Chinese fishermen from harvesting endangered sea turtles and other species on a substantial scale. China, which boycotted the case, has long said the court has no jurisdiction over the matter and will not abide by the judgment.
想说呢，这个仲裁庭所谓的仲裁庭，它从一开始就是建立在了菲律宾违法行为和非法诉求的基础之上。那么它的存在呢，就不具备合法性。它所做出的一切裁决都是徒劳的，是没有任何效力的。你刚才讲到了影响，如果说要有什么影响呢？我是觉得它对本地区，如果说因为这个裁决造成了本地区相关方之间的矛盾被激化。
The landmark case was seen as an important incident in China's rise as a global power. It's the first time the Chinese government has been summoned before the international justice system. Meanwhile, Philippines has asked those concerned to exercise sobriety and restraint after their court win over Beijing.
The Philippines welcomes the issuance today. Our experts are studying the award with the care and thoroughness that this significant arbitral outcome deserves. In the meantime, we call on those concerned to exercise restraint and sobriety.
The United States and China regularly conduct military exercises in the area, which is of vital interest to both Beijing and Washington, and have accused each other of provocations as recently as last month. Many in the region are worried that China will react to the decision by accelerating efforts to assert more control over the South China Sea. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. News from Britain now, where the outgoing Prime Minister David Cameron chaired an emotional last cabinet meeting yesterday. Now, he will be stepping down today and handing over the baton to Theresa May, who will become UK's second woman Prime Minister after Margaret Thatcher. Now, Cameron will cede power to 59-year-old May after visiting Buckingham Palace to resign today. Now, Cameron's last meeting with his cabinet was described as emotional by Cultural Secretary John Whittingdale. He said there was a touch of sadness to the Prime Minister and his ministers. Cameron had announced that he would be stepping down for a new Prime Minister to take the Brexit negotiations forward with the European Union a day after the June 23rd vote in favour of Britain leaving the economic bloc. Meanwhile, European Union leaders are preparing for UK's exit from the bloc. On Tuesday, German Chancellor Angela Merkel warned that talks will be difficult and urged London to clarify what kind of relationship it wanted with EU.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel expects Britain's new government to quickly define its relationship with the European Union after Conservative Theresa May becomes Prime Minister on Wednesday. Merkel's comments came after May was confirmed to succeed David Cameron.
Das Vereinigte Königreich wird rasch klären müssen, wie es denn in Zukunft sein Verhältnis zur Europäischen Union gestalten will. Ich kann von deutscher Seite aus nur werben, Großbritannien ist ein wichtiger Partner und wir werden auch in Zukunft mit Großbritannien eng verbunden bleiben.
Speaking at an annual diplomatic reception near Berlin, Merkel stressed if Britain wanted access to the single market, it must accept European Union freedoms.
Natürlich müssen aber auch die EU und die verbleibenden 27 Mitgliedstaaten ihre Interessen wahren. Wer etwa freien Zugang zum europäischen Binnenmarkt haben möchte, wird im Gegenzug auch alle Grundfreiheiten akzeptieren müssen, einschließlich der Freizügigkeit von Personen. Wir können in Europa jetzt sicherlich nach dem Referendum nicht einfach zur gewohnten Tagesordnung übergehen. Wir müssen uns gemeinsam überlegen, welche Lehren wir für den weiteren europäischen Einigungsprozess ziehen.
Britain hasn't yet activated Article 50 of the European Treaty that triggers the process of its departure. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
News from the US now, and Bernie Sanders has finally endorsed the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton. Now the two leaders put aside their differences and join hands to try and beat Republican Donald Trump in the 8th of November US presidential polls. The Vermont senator, who has been a thorn in Clinton's side over the last year, pledged to support his former rival through Election Day. While acknowledging that the two have had disagreements, Sanders said that both campaigns found common ground over the past weekend at the Democratic Platform Committee meeting in Orlando. He said that he would work hard to elect Clinton and that he was proud to stand with her today. Clinton thanked Sanders for his lifetime of fighting injustice.
Secretary Clinton goes into the convention with 389 more pledged delegates than we have and a lot more superdelegates. Secretary Clinton has won the Democratic nominating process, and I congratulate her for that.
I can't tell you how grateful I am to be standing here with Senator Sanders, because I think both of us realize that each of our campaigns together represent the best of who we are. And now it is time for us to take that message to the rest of the country.
Meanwhile, in more news from the US, President Barack Obama has urged the country to reject despair and rise above racial divide as he paid tribute to the 5 police officers who were killed during a deadly sniper attack in Dallas. Obama's address to a memorial service for the officers killed last Thursday came amid mounting racial tensions across the country. The 5 Dallas officers were gunned down by military veteran Micah Johnson, who said that he was angered by police killings of black men. Earlier, protests over excessive police force against black Americans have been held in cities across the U.S. Obama said that no institution was immune from prejudice and praised the police in Dallas and around the country. Former U.S. President George Bush also addressed the packed hall and called on Americans to reject the unity of grief and fear.
I understand how Americans are feeling. But Dallas, I'm here to say we must reject such despair. I'm here to insist that we are not as divided as we seem. And I know that because I know America. I know how far we've come against impossible odds.
None of us were prepared or could be prepared for an ambush by hatred and malice. The shock of this evil still has not faded.
Meanwhile, news from Italy, where at least 25 people have been killed and 50 injured after a head-on collision between 2 passenger trains. The trains were on a single track line between the towns of Bari and Barletta. It was unclear what led to the collision, which happened in good weather at the southern region of Puglia. Now, rescue workers from the emergency services have been trying to free passengers from the shattered carriages, and one small child was pulled out and airlifted to a hospital. Now, Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi visited the spot of accident and ordered an official investigation. Let's now get you all the sporting action. Here is the Sports Beat. In a surprise move, India has named senior goalkeeper PR Srijesh as the captain of the national hockey team for the Rio Olympics, removing long-standing skipper Sardar Singh. The hockey team won the silver medal at the Champions Trophy in London under the leadership of Srijesh. Reigning Asian champion discus thrower Vikas Gora has suffered a minor shoulder injury and will have to prove his fitness prior to his participation in the upcoming Rio Olympics. The men's discus throw event of Rio Olympics is scheduled on 12th of August this year. US-based 33-year-old Gora had won a gold in the 2014 Commonwealth Games and has not taken part in any competitive event since making the Rio cut in December last year. The Indian cricket team has held the second position in the latest ICC Test rankings released in Dubai. World champion Australia retains the top spot. R. Ashwin topped the all-rounders list besides being placed second in bowlers list. In batting, Australia's Steve Smith leads the field and he is followed by Kane Williamson of New Zealand and South Africa's Hashim Amla. And well, days after NASA's Juno aircraft went around the orbit of Jupiter, it has sent its first pictures of the biggest planet of our solar system. Well, the image shows Jupiter surrounded by 3 of its 4 moons, while the 4th major satellite is out of view. The picture taken on Sunday when Juno was some 4.3 million kilometers from Jupiter also shows the planet's great red spot, which is a centuries-old atmospheric storm. Remember, Juno entered the orbit around Jupiter last week after a 5-year journey. It is on a mission to map the giant planet's poles, atmosphere and interior. So we leave you with the first in-orbit view of Jupiter, courtesy Juno. Thanks for watching.